all the months in isolation, yearning to be back in the marsh. It was knowing how much was left to explore, how much life to uncover in the wild, that kept me going. And the hope, always that hope, that one day I could share it.
The novel was so engrossing. I just couldn't put it down. I fell in love with Kaya as a little girl who's growing up, shunned by society, and is trying to find a way to just survive.
I fell deeply in love with the world and the character. There's something about observing a young woman experience loneliness and see her learn how to navigate the world through what she observes in nature.
The inspiration for my book started when I was a child. My mother was an outdoor girl, and she encouraged me to go out into the woods as far as I could go and to explore nature. And I would collect insects, I would collect feathers. Does that sound familiar?
The way that Delia Owens wrote this book was such authenticity. The book is a love letter to growing up in the South.
It's really beautiful, it's very evocative, it's very romantic. It's almost an iconic American coastal town. But also within those confines, there are things that America as a nation has wrestled with and continues to wrestle with. Judgment of the other, somebody who's different.
I was so captivated and emotionally captured by the characters, especially Kaya's character. That's one of the key absolutes that you have to have about a story that you're bringing to life for the screen. You have to have passion.
When a book is as beloved as Where the Crawdads Sing, readers have imagined Kaya and the whole world in their minds. So the bar is incredibly high when adapting it and bringing it to life on screen.
It has this incredible female heroine, but then there's also beautiful romance, there's a murder mystery, there's a survivalist tale, all these different elements that I just couldn't wait to tell as a filmmaker.
It was very important to us to use as much of Delia's words and dialogue as possible.
It wasn't an easy adaptation either. I mean, the book is very complicated. We were trying to figure out the different timelines, the different structure. How can you condense that material, which is so complex?
One of the most important things to look at when you're adapting a book to a movie is how does the author open it? How does she bring you into her world? Delia tells you who Kaya is by talking about the marsh.
Marsh is not swamp. Marsh is a space of light, where grass grows in water, and water flows into the sky.
The marsh is its own character, for sure. Even from the very beginning of the book and how it transferred over into the script, the marsh is the secret keeper.
It's a place where there are no moral absolutes, where there's life and death. It is merciless sometimes and also merciful. And Delia has this wonderful passage where she says, the marsh became her mother. It becomes the thing that raises her, the thing that keeps her alive.
Whenever I stumbled, the marsh caught me.
It's about how much we can learn about human nature from nature itself. We forget that we're part of nature. We're not separate from it.
The marsh knows all about death and doesn't necessarily define it as tragedy, certainly not a sin. It understands that every creature does what it must to survive.
One of the things that was key was the mystery. We paid great attention to making sure that from beginning to end, we were tracking that mystery.
We're in a constant limbo of, did she do it, did she not do it? Despite the fact we're always with her as a character, you know, we're on her shoulders throughout the film.
It was very important that the mystery be part of the mystery of Kaya. It's not a mystery for the sake of something thrilling to watch. It really has to teach you something about who Kaya is and what her journey has been.
Where the Crawdads Sing is about isolation. It's about how being rejected and discriminated against in isolation can affect a person.
Something I could not stop thinking about was when Kaya's mother leaves her. How does a young girl ever get over a trauma like that? And how does she become someone who's lovable when the one person who loves you most in the world leaves you?
Being completely alone was a feeling so vast, it echoed.
One of the most heartbreaking scenes is the scene where Kaya is waiting for Tate on the beach. You really feel how alone she is.
All of us have a little bit of Kaya in us. We all feel like we're isolated to a certain degree at certain moments and times in our life, where we are in the swamp, we are out in the marsh, and nobody's understanding us, and nobody's necessarily helping us, and nobody's on our side. And yet we also have that aspirational thing in us that hopes that we can find a way to come through it.
Kaya is a fighter. That's one of the things Delia said to me, and that really helped me understand who we were creating. She's also somebody who needs to connect. And what she learns is that she thinks she's alone, and so much of the stories she tells herself are about being alone, and she's not alone. She finds friends, and she builds her own family, which I always thought was an incredible story of Delia to tell.
Will you marry me? I mean, do you want to?
I just thought Lucy did such a beautiful job, and her script read like poetry. And I think what's really brave about her adaptation is I had a lot of scenes where I don't say anything and we just watch Kaya exist. And I think it's lovely to allow an audience to fill in the blanks of what's happening in her mind. Yeah, I thought Lucy did an amazing job. It was quite a feat and she absolutely smashed it.
I've known Kaya for many, many years. And when they started casting, I thought they'll never find Kaya. She's so much in my head. And when they introduced me to Daisy Edgar Jones, I thought they have found Kaya.
Daisy Edgar Jones is just a once-in-a-lifetime talent. You feel her vulnerability, you feel her ferocity.
You want me to beg for my life? I don't have it in me. I won't.
I'm pretty tough on Southern accents, and Delia and I spoke about it for a long time, and Daisy just fell into it so beautifully.
I love working in accents. I've always tried to, because acting in my own voice makes me very self-conscious. So first of all, getting the North Carolina accent down and the particular subtleties of Kaya's voice.
No, I feel sorry for you. But I want nothing to do with any of that.
Working with Daisy's been amazing. That was one of the main reasons I did this film, to work with Daisy.
She's incredible, and she's so talented.
It's been so wonderful to work with this cast. Taylor and Harris are brilliant, and it's been very fun creating those characters together. I loved doing the courtroom scenes with David and just listening to him navigate such huge amounts of text in such a beautiful way. I mean, he's so talented. And obviously, Sterling and Michael as Jumpin' and Mabel, I mean, just spectacular. So yeah, it's been a real joy.
There's a lot of favorite parts of the book that I have, but my favorite scene is when Kaya comes in selling Jumpin' the mussels. The scene felt great. The connections there were very, very real.
It is a joy to work with Sterling. It is effortless connecting with that wonderful man. And Livy, our fantastic diva director. She is so viscerally connected to the story, but the energy of the story.
Livy Newman is an actor's director. She gets the most beautiful performances, but she's also a visionary. When you look at the world of Where the Crawdads Sing and how beautiful and magnificent it is, you can tell what an incredibly inspired filmmaker she is.
Where the Crawdads Sing is like a filmmaker dream come true of a story. I couldn't wait to shoot Kaya boating through the marsh. I couldn't wait to see her waiting alone at the beach. There's so much of this script that is silent. And so the challenge as a filmmaker is how do we then make those scenes emotional and get across what is happening emotionally through our framing, through our lighting choices. So being able to do that in this gorgeous setting was so exciting to me.
It is important for me to help bring this project to life on screen because I think it is a story of hope in a world that needs hope. And I think it's a story of survival in a world that needs a story of survival.
I think we're just kind of starved for these romantic movies too. Beautiful locations, seeing young people fall in love. You know, there's a reason that there's been movies made about it in the past that are just classics, and I really think that this movie will join those.
The thing that's the most surprising to me is how many just individuals, so many people individually identifying with the story has been the greatest part.